Would you please lie on your stomach? Pull both hands somewhere comfortably on either side of your head, somewhere. Turn your head to the right, and you will find those who turn the head to the left, that to the right it's less comfortable, the head doesn't lie so well. So try again the side you feel normally, and you will see. If you do that, you will realize that to the other side it's uncomfortable. Why? Or how? How come that the other side is less comfortable? Then because you will see, in order to turn the head, the upper spine and the chest must move so that the cervical vertebra can turn and the head can turn. Now, if you haven't got a symmetrical development of the spine and the cervical vertebrae, and maybe in the pelvis, then there is a big difference, the way head lies on one side or the other. We will see how important that is in the next few minutes. Would you please then turn the head to the right and then stretch your feet. Extend them and bend your knees so that the feet look parallel to the floor or to the ceiling. Now, if you have a look from the corner of your eye around yourself, you will be astonished to see that when you say bend your feet, some feet are bent at right angles as when standing, but some, especially with dancers and all sorts of things like that, have the feet turned so that the toes are to the ceiling. Like, for instance, just watch here. Would you please have a look? Please don't change. You look. Look, the toes are to the ceiling. In other words, the legs, the feet are extended to a degree which has nothing to do with what this person does and this person does. Now look what others do. Look how many people stretch their feet. If you stood like that, stand up, you couldn't stand on the toes. Yeah, well, how come that your normal feeling of where the feet should be when you bend them and you don't see them, you put them in such a way which is absolutely impossible to walk off. If you walk like that, it's only ballerinas with special shoes and hard things can do that. Yet to you, it feels right when you bend your feet to hold them in that extreme position, which means that the extensors of the feet work to the limit. That's the limit what you can do. And yet you don't know that you're doing it. In other words, if you stood and got up on tiptoes, but not only on tiptoe, but on your nails, which you weren't able to do, but that shows you that while you walk, the tension there is so great and so superfluous. It's at the limit of your ability, and yet you don't know that. Now, therefore, it's important to see that, look, millions of people don't do that. Yet in every audience you'll find that dancers, and especially jumpers, and all sorts of people like that, produce such terrible difficulties for themselves, and therefore they are not golden medalists. They're just jumpers. They jump all their life and they can't jump 2 meters. They can't jump 2 meters 30 like the people who jump at the Olympic Games nowadays. They do it 2 meters 32. You know what that is? And millions of people jump all their life and all they get is a few feet. Like Jesse Owens. You probably know the name, those who are not too young. And many of those who are interested in sport would know Jesse Owens because it was one of the greatest American athletes. And in the Olympic Games, which Hitler organized in Berlin, Jesse Owens was the world champion. And in 1500 meters, in 800 meters, he got several gold medals. And high jump, he jumped 2 meters 6. Nowadays, if you want to go in any national team for competing in the Olympic Games, if you jump less than 2 meters 20, you have no chance of being selected. Which shows you that there is an enormous development in the way of learning to jump, which does things that the greatest athletes couldn't do only 20 years ago or 30 years ago. Now, would you please bend your knees again? And this time, would you please flex your feet and extend them? Flex them and extend them to the limit, but without power. Means don't force, because you will have to do so many of these things in different ways, of course. But if you keep on working to the limit of your strength, you'll find that your legs will cramp. It will be awful. So you do that. Now, once you got that moment, approximately to the limit effortlessly, would you please keep on doing it, but at each moment, reduce the range. Means extend less and flex less until you find the place where it's not extended and not flexed. And you will see that those who have them always overextended, even when they do that, they are zero. Their feeling where they do nothing is wrong. Wrong for them, because they don't feel where the middle is. They don't feel whether the foot is, when in standing, the foot is at right angles to the tibia. Yeah? Therefore, if the neutral position, not getting on your heels and not on tiptoes, is somewhere at right angles. Therefore, if you go on reducing the extension and flexion until it comes to the middle, it should be at right angles. It means the foot should be as if you were standing on it. And many people get it, but many people don't. Many people you can see and look. There are many people, if you look at them, after they have done the exercise, they're still overextended. In other words, this would be of no importance, because though, after you're 50, 60 years old, and your feet begin to ache, and you begin to feel that you have sensitive feet, and that you have to buy peculiar shoes in order to be able to walk, then you will realize that you actually spoiled your life all your life by overworking the legs uselessly, just to destroy them. And many women and many men have the valgus, means the big toe, terrible to see, painful, and operate them. And surgeons keep on with a hatchet taking off that growth, thickening of the bone. And if you saw them, you saw the results. Some of them are successful, more or less. They fix the big toe so that it can't move at all. And you can imagine what sort of pleasure that is. Running, going up steps with a big toe that can't bend, can't move at all. But that's still good because it's not painful, at least. It's not only clumsy, but it's not painful. But with some, it's not so successful, and they say they have pain for the rest of their lives, or somewhere there. All right, now would you please bend your knees again, and this time join the knees together, and slowly, as you turn to the right, tilt your legs to the left. Gently, gently. Don't go to the limit because the floor is the limit. But you can make a hole in the floor and get lower if you want to. The hands somewhere near the head. Near the head. That's right. Now the knees together. Touch them. And tilt both feet to the left. Now imagine. No. Slow, big, small movements. And remain at the knees at right angles. Now, imagine that you tie your ankles with a strap, with a leather strap or a cord, and the knees also, so that the feet cannot slide, the legs cannot slide on each other. And make small movements. Have you heard that? Make small movements and come back. But remember that their feet are tied together in your imagination. And that should be tied stronger than by any rope. Now tilt the legs to your left and back again. Both the feet and the knees being tied together. And again the hands somewhere on the floor on either side of your head. Not at your sex. Put your hands, that's right. Huh? You can't bend them. There's a baby. All right, then, what month are you? There no harm whatsoever. But if you feel awkward, then do whatever you feel right. All right? You see, you never know things like that. Of course, if you were on the 6th or 7th month, I wouldn't advise you to do that thing. Though people who work with me regularly work in Tel Aviv until a fortnight before delivery, and I have had at least 50 deliveries like that. They didn't last more than an hour and a half. Most of them had the most wonderful deliveries. And even not very young women, even women a year or two before menopause, had the same experience of easy delivery because the entire musculature of the spine, of the back, of the abdomen, and the movement were actually simple and easy delivery with no trouble. And they returned to work within 4 weeks. So tilt the legs a little bit when they're tied together, and then you will feel, of course, that when they're tied together, one knee lifts off the floor. Bend the knees and they remain bent at right angles, and you tilt them to the left. That's right, slowly and back again. Don't go lower. And when you do that, just feel. When you say don't go lower, you go that amount. What indicates you the amount you do? Where do you feel it? Where do we feel the movement like that? That's, of course, the pelvis lifts, the spine twists, and we are not interested in the movement. We are interested in the movement to learn how to mobilize ourselves for any damn movement, not only for this. That's why it's unimportant now whether you touch the floor or you don't. It's how you do that, if it's important, which will make it possible to do 50 other movements properly. And I slowly go to the left. At right angles, the knees. At right angles, they are not. Keep on doing that. And after you've done half a dozen movements like that or so, are you pregnant too? No, then put your hands forward. And tilt your legs gently to the left, and then go where it's comfortable and stay there. Now watch, tilt them and stay there. If you don't tilt them, there's no point in staying there. And when you tilt them, of course, one knee must be lifted off the floor. Otherwise, there is no tilt possible without the knee lifting. Without the right knee lifting, is no tilt. Because if the knees are tight together, you can't do it otherwise. Now stay there. Watch only one. After a few seconds or minutes, what you feel where? In the spine, in the neck, in the breathing. Your knee is not lifted. You have slid. You are not tied. In your mind, the tying up of the legs is not good. Tie them up properly. Now tilt the legs to the left so that the one knee lifts a little bit off the floor. Now stay like that, lift the head and turn it to the left. Slowly, because some of you will have a crick in the neck and won't be able to straighten it again. Now lift it again and put it to the right. Now watch. When you do lift your head, do the knees sink more? Try again. Lift the head, and then there. Do they sink or they rise when you put the legs to the other side? Now, when the head is turned left, do the feet go lower or less? Less, of course. Now, would you please come to the middle again and look to the right again? Now tilt your legs again to the left, tie them together. But you will see some people tie them together, then they stop breathing, and the circulation in the legs is stopped because they don't rely on the imagination. They squeeze their legs so tightly that they can't stand it. And in 2 minutes they are so tired that they have to spread them. Now if your imagination works, then the tying with the string in imagination, you don't need any force anymore. All you have is to hold them together gently. Would you please tilt them again to the left? And watch that in fact, in spite of doing gently, they still go lower. Now, as you lie, would you please stretch your left hand straight overhead? No, the head, oh merde. You know what merde is in French? Yeah, it's shit in French, in English. When we say stretch the hand, it has nothing to do with your ass, and not the head either. Leave the head where it was. Because now the head is not stretched as it would be if you didn't move the head. Now, slowly, stretch the left arm overhead. Stretch it over gently, as long as you can, without her. But you are allowed to do it so that it's comfortable. You have not to do it so that it's painful and impossible to do. Stretch it near your head. And don't force it. With many people, you can't touch the head with the stretched arm. Now, slowly, watch. When you did that, do the legs go a little bit lower to the floor while you do it? Now, I want again to bring forward that idea that once we know what makes it better, our nervous system learns it with 2 trials. Now, stretch the left arm again. And see that when you stretch the arm, the legs go a little bit lower. Now, this time, go back to the middle with the legs. Put your left hand along your body on with the, that's right, with the palm upwards, you see, and tilt the legs again. But of course, if you put the arm underneath your body, so like a brick under a wheel, then it can't move. The hand should be on the floor. Can you feel that the feet, the legs tilt a little more? All right, now, that being so, would you please go to the middle, put both hands on either side of the head, like before, and you will be surprised that your body has learned, you, yourself, your brain has learned how to organize the spine and the pelvis and the neck and the chest, so that if you hold your hands in front, tilt your legs, and you will see they go just as low as when you did the things with the... Try and see. And you did only one movement with each, you'll find that your legs tilt just as well, without the hand being lengthened or put across on the side of the body. Now, bring them back to the middle. Bring them back to the middle. And this time, stretch your left hand overhead again. And the right hand, put it near your chest, near your breast, on the floor, like for pushing up. That's right. All right? And now tilt your legs to the left, and you will see they go even lower. Try a few times. Try a few times. Now, put the right hand where it was, and the left hand where it was, and you will see that you have learned to go as low as with the tricks. Take both hands where they were, and you'll find that her system is quick to learn the useful thing, even when we are with one leg in the grave. That system is still capable of learning quickly anything which makes his life smoother, easier, more comfortable. Now tilt your legs to the left and stay there, wherever it feels nice. Now, once you are like that, would you please separate the feet from each other? It means lift the right foot, and then watch when you lift the right foot, the left foot goes lower. Try again. When you lie on the side like that, with the legs tied properly, tied with a string, in your imagination, lift the right leg away from then the left one goes lower, whether you want it or not. In fact, some will find the left one touching the floor. But don't bother about touching the floor. You will touch it, all of you, without exception, in another 2 minutes or 5 minutes. So, slowly. Now close them and open again. Open the right, not the left. And bring it back to lie on the leg. Bring it back, yeah. But then, of course, some people don't feel what they're doing. They open the right leg, and then when they want to close, they lift the left, instead of closing the right to the left, where it was. Now, tilt them to the left again, and this time when they're on the left, take the left leg away from the right. Just a little bit, and back again. Open the left and see. Some will probably feel the floor touched with the toes. Now, that being so, if you do it 3 times, not much, 3 times. And now open both legs together, easy. Now, would you please bring them to the middle and tilt them tight properly together, tilt them to the left, and see where you can go. Now, I told you that in about 2 minutes, most people will lie with both feet on the floor with no trouble whatsoever. But with some, it will take another 10 seconds. So don't push. Now, when you're on the side like that, all right, now, would you please tilt your legs to the left? And this time, put your right hand on the floor like for pushing up, and lift the head. Just lift the head, as it is. And then lower it, lift the head. Several times. Those who have a crick in the neck should go slowly. Don't turn it. Leave it, lift it as it is. You're turning your head, don't turn it. And I tell you, don't turn the head. She turns the head until I become a teacher and give her a bad sign. Then she will suddenly realize that she's doing it. Now, would you be responsible for your own? Don't turn the head. You're still turning the head. If you lie, all right, touch with your nose your right shoulder. Touch with your nose your right shoulder and lift the head like that. Now you're not turning your head. All right? Now slowly, do that 3-4 times. With the nose to the shoulder and lift the head a little bit. And you will find that all feet lie on the floor now, most of them. Anywhere I can see. Except those who can't, it's probably they have some trouble in the spine or in the knees or in the hip joints or something like that. But otherwise, any more or less healthy person will have his feet lying on the floor. Now, put your hands on the floor, on either side of the head like before, and see the legs still remain there. So obviously you can go to the middle and bring them back again like that. Try. Bring the legs to the middle and tilt them to the right, to the left. Tilt them to the left and see whether you can touch the floor or not. Now, the improvement that you got in this exactly nearly about 25-30 minutes, because we talked a bit before, can you see, it's staggering. Staggering to see 300 people of all ages, of all denominations and forms, men or women, fat or thin, have achieved the thing that when they started it moved gently. You will find actually it's easier now to go down than just do a small movement. Yeah? Would you please stop it? Lie on your back. Lie on your back. And note what you feel in contact with the floor that actually can show you which are the parts of the back, of the chest, of the neck, and the legs that were all the time uselessly contracted, and therefore normally in our working life we actually produce an effort which is incommensurable with the amount of movement that we do and the kind of thing we do. Now, this doesn't really matter because losing a little bit of the amount of work that one does per 1 gram of sugar or starch consumed is enormous. Because you know that a kilogram of sugar will produce 17,000 calories, and each calorie can produce 427 or something kilogram meters. Means you can take 1 kilogram, lift it nearly half a kilometer with that amount of 1 gram. So in 17 or 16,000 grams, you see you have enough energy produced to go up the Eiffel Tower about 5,000 times. So that's nothing if we do something with too much effort. But what happens with the energy produced by the muscles, by our brain, and by our exertion trying to do something, and the thing not being performed properly? It means the efficiency of the movement is very low. Therefore, the rest of the energy that has not been turned into movement, what happens to it? Imagine, if you want to understand the thermodynamics of biology, you have to understand simple thermodynamics that you know. What happens with a car which is not properly tuned, and therefore you can't make more than 40 miles an hour with it when you go up hills? Then you can press on the pedal to give as much gas as you want, the car doesn't move faster. Then, of course, you have burnt petrol, just like we burn starch or sugar. And what happened to the burnt gas that did not turn into movement? It hits the engine, burns the oil, and if you keep on doing that without taking the car to a garage and tune it so that it doesn't lose gas for nothing, doing no work but just burning it, like we do if we do useless work while doing something. Now this heat, because that useless work is turned to heat, not to movement. It is heat in the body. What does it do? First we begin to sweat because it's uncomfortable, because there's a lot of heat generated which can't be lost. Just like a car gets hot when you burn gas and it's not tuned and it doesn't advance when you press your pedal to the bottom, and no advance, doesn't go any faster. So the engine gets hot, the water boils. We do the same thing, but that's nothing. So the boils, so we sweat. All you have to is to clean your shirt again. But that amount of energy is going to destroy the joints and the muscles. Destroy the joints, because how do you generate heat? By too much friction. In a human body you can't get heat unless you are ill, and the circulation, which is again friction, increases until you have a pulse of 100 or 150, then you sweat and you get your temperature rises and you're ill. In working like that, if we use unnecessary effort to do a simple thing, if when you started you could move your feet only half of the way down with the same effort as you can now go to the bottom, then you have saved your articulations, the spine from getting spondylosis, from getting trouble that only misuse of it will do. In other words, you can see that most people come here with a spine that is not fit to do that. And you go away from it with a spine that can do it easily. So now you understand that useless work, when it's inefficient, is actually destroying the joints of our body. If we go with the feet and they don't go down as much as they can effortlessly, then of course in the spine we hold them. Try again. Lie on your stomach and see. Lie on your stomach. Put your hands where they were, on either side of the head. Bend your knees. Tilt them to the left, and you will see, of course, now you can go down. Now that you tilted them to the left, lift them to the thing where we started and say move a little, lift them back to that point. Lift them to the point where when we started, you tilted your legs. that amount. But the knees together untied. Yeah. No, bring them to the point where you tilted them a little bit. Now, can you see now the effort in the spine to hold it? Can you feel that you're actually holding the breath, holding the chest, and stiffening the chest in such a way that it can't breathe properly, and the spine itself has too much pressure and will generate useless heat, which will have to be evacuated through perspiring or through other means, through the breathing. And of course it is taking good food, burning it in order to destroy the body that does it. Therefore, it's important to have elegant movements so that you do only that part of work which is accomplishing your intention, makes it do easily, comfortably. And therefore it becomes elegant because you do only what is necessary and nothing else. And then it looks nice. And to you gives also an aesthetic appreciation. Look, I can touch the floor with no trouble at all. You get so used to it that you don't think of it anymore, you just do it. Now, of course, you will find many people here who have been all their life wrong. They start now already on the other side before knowing what they do, just to make sure, in case they can't do it on the other side. Can you see their internal appreciation of themselves is useless? They should go to see a psychiatrist because he is afraid that he can't do it on the other side. He has to do it now, just while he has only succeeded. He must do it there. It is, to give you a good example, is that it's like somebody who has doubts about his sexual power. He sleeps with a girl and then immediately goes to another one to see whether he can do it again. And that's the kind of spirit which actually destroys a man's life. And the same thing goes with women. Even if they are of the liberation movement, and they do the same thing, they are just as cuckoo as the other man. But both need to be helped because it's just misfunctioning. And the misfunctioning is that drang that they've got somewhere, the doubt whether they can do it on the other side or not. They have to test it. And they haven't got the patience. They have just learned something. They already tested it. They already doubt whether they can do it on the other side. And when I said what I said, you will find that a person like that has other difficulties like that in his makeup and his action. Because somebody who cannot wait and enjoy the thing that he has learned, and you have seen that we learn on the other side always in another way. And also the fact that the majority of people didn't test the other side. Therefore, the majority is normal, healthier. All right, now we have overshot the hour a little bit. Would you please lie on your back just to feel again what it happened? And then there's another thing I would like, I didn't say when I talked about the graduate students of mine. Some of them have made cassettes with lessons. One of them is Bruce Holmes from Illinois. And some others Rutalon, if you know. They have made cassettes, and of course, my cassettes are put intentionally at a higher price than the others, because if the prices were the same, they have no chance of selling theirs. And as they do make good cassettes, because they're serious students, have been working for a long time, and they know what they're doing, therefore, some cassettes can be bought cheaper if you buy them from my students. And most of the time they are just as good. And then, of course, there is a minor difference, because after all, I'm the creator of the thing, and the other one gives some sort of interpretation of his own, most of the time very valid and good. But there is a difference. But the difference in price is also significant. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a chance of selling them, and I would like them to do and sell and get one day to replace me. Therefore, they have to be supported and done. So there are some cassettes here by Bruce Holmes. Anybody who wants them can get them. And you will get also the forms for ordering my cassettes, and you will see that the price difference will convince people to take Bruce's. All right, now would you please turn on any side you like, get up and feel. There will be a marked difference in the turning of the head to the right and to the left in standing. In standing, stand and feel. Try to move to look to the right and to the left, and you will see that one side is so much easier than the other. And much more. It's easier and you do a bigger movement. And that's actually what we claim that we can. It's not, you don't have to increase the effort to do more movement. You have to learn to eliminate the rubbish so that the movement can be done comfortably. Therefore, bigger, better, faster and stronger, yet with less effort. And you can only get to that quality of doing faster and stronger if you don't produce useless effort, which will actually ruin the entire structure. So now you can, as usually, have a look at yourself, walk around and see, and feel that actually if you turn around yourself, you will see one side is easy, and if you turn the other side, it feels clumsy.
Dr. Feldenkrais,
Yeah.
yesterday morning when we did the first exercise and you said stand up and walk around, all of a sudden I looked at you and I couldn't see you. You were a complete blur. Is that all right? It faded away and I felt all right. It went away and I could see you, but for about 3 or 4 minutes you were just a blur.
Yes.
Is that all right?
What do you mean? It shouldn't be like that, but do you have the blur now?
No.
Did you ever had it before?
No.
No, well then it's a momentary thing which is possible lying so long for such long stretches on the floor makes difference.